Hey, let's fight here with a case study on launches, and the purpose of this case study is to really show you how some beliefs can hold you back, and some beliefs about launches can hold you back in particular, especially since if you've been on my list for a while, you know that I'm anti-launches. Well, actually, it turns out I'm anti-launches when people use it as a business model and they jump from one launch to another for products they don't support after the launch. However, there is a reason for doing launches if you do it in a strategic way. And there are tons of great examples. If I wish I could find this. There's a fantastic story by J. Abraham, and I'm paraphrasing here. It's basically two guys set out to sell jewels. And the first guy created a nice advertising campaign, and he was a professional copywriter. And then he sent out, his ads. He paid about, I can't remember exactly what it was. Let's say $30,000 on ads. He sold some jewels or diamonds, and then he made a total of whatever it was, like 10 grand or so. Okay, all is good. Now, the second guy was less of a gifted copywriter, and he did a similar thing, but he packaged them up in a beautiful little package, a little sort of, satin whatever bag, and it had a letter included in his diamonds. And when he sent them out, it said, as you will find out, they're actually not real diamonds. They were kind of these, the artificial diamonds. And he said, look, what you'll find is it looks smaller than a real diamond. And the reason is they have a higher density. Now, what I've done for you is and now this is a lengthy story, you could basically buy a really nice ring with a bigger, like 15 carat stone in it for half the price you'd pay at the jeweler's. And you even get credit for the initial diamond or initial fake diamond you paid for. And this guy, within a couple of years, made something like 23 million off that very same campaign, despite losing money on the very first campaign because he had to pay for the beautiful packaging and all that kind of stuff. And J. Abraham tells it in a beautiful way. He says, that's the difference between a tactical marketer and a strategic marketer. The first one just saw the tactic. Let's go and send out this campaign. Let's do a good copywriting job and then get money back. And the second guy was much more strategic. Now, I have a personal story, actually not really, really personal. It's like a good friend of mine was in a company back when we were at Oxford, and he was in biotech. And they're doing some kind of, he showed me, I still don't understand the whole thing, gene sequencing, whatever, big plates of genes and dribbling down, whatever. They were in this business, and a buddy of his was in a similar business. Now, the other buddy tried to do the whole thing bootstrapping, and for years and years and years he was bootstrapping, saying, look, I reinvest my profits, I don't take any own salary, I live off savings, and I'll grow the company organically. Whereas Christian, my friend, he said, look, let's get some venture capitalists in there. I was going to say something rude about VCs, but I'll refrain. Let's get them in, give them a big chunk of the company. Or actually, it was a management buyout. We buy out this company, get VCs in, and then we grow it aggressively. And the big difference is that was a strategic move, and it paid off handsomely for Christian, whereas the other guy, to this day, is bootstrapping. Alrighty, so let me show you then the background behind this here, the beauty boss who turns snakes into ladders, and the actual email this is based on. So this is Phil, who has a product. Let's call it SBW. I don't want to tell you what it is before he's ready to release it, but it can make a big difference in people's lives. And he's seen this, and so I asked him, is it ready? And he says, yes, there is so much that is ready. However, what is not ready? And this is now where the mindset comes in. He's focused on, for example, the wet stuff is a headache. Or I then need an existing successful marketer to tweak the edges of it. Or once I get small traction, we are willing to grow it as a learning process for a year or so. Then grow organically or fade organically. That's what happened before to him, right? So my answer to that was, actually I need to scroll down, except there's no scrolling. If you have something worth talking about, that's my take. You should not take a year just to get some real traction and build it up. And the very bottom thing, let's move this here. You first need to be sure that you can help right now. The packaging and positioning and all that marketing, all these beliefs that you need a website and you need to get small traction and then a learning curve of a year and to grow organically. All that is holding him back. What he's got is something that is of tremendous value, or could be of tremendous value, And it's not getting out there. No one is seeing it because he has the beliefs that all of this is in here. And the reason I mention this is because I've been disparaging without discriminating, if you like, about launches in the past. I've always said launches are bad for you, without clarifying that launches done the big JV style, where it's all about exploitation, all about using those hardwired triggers, or the urgency and scarcity and the reciprocity, etc. That, in my opinion, is, well, it's debatable. It doesn't gel with my ethics, but it may work for others. But the big thing really is that most people then go and jump from launch to launch to launch, and that is a very stressful business model, and it's also not as profitable as you may think, unless you've got a multi-million dollar launch. The smaller ones in the sort of six-figure range, there's very little left for all the effort you're putting in at the end of the day. So that's why I've been disparaging of launches. However, if you are in a situation like this here, if you have something that is of real value, and now you're telling yourself, well, I will bootstrap it, and I will do all these other things first, and I need to worry about a website, and I need to get small traction, etc. You're doing yourself and your business a massive disservice. I'm going to go back to the beauty boss who turns snakes into ladders. Basically, when you go and read through this article, I'll get you the link, or you just Google this here, the beauty boss who turns snakes into ladders. There's only one BBC article on that. She basically went on for years, decided after several years in business, basically bootstrapping, right? It just didn't work, and one day they were thinking about it, and they had something of value. They had a good product, but it just didn't really do anything for them, and no one got excited about it. So they decided to do a launch. Now, where was it? I was going to launch with the name Anti-Wrinkle Serum, and they thought, that is bollocks. Then they did it properly. They did a proper launch, and we were selling out within a few weeks. So, good quality product, has been around for years, and bootstrap, nothing happens. And then they decided to do a proper launch. Now, the reason I say proper launch is, if you look up here, we were going to launch with something boring. Then we turned around and made it something exciting, and we were selling out within a few weeks, right? Thousands of bottles of this thing sold. The big reason this is important is because what you do when you do a seed launch and an internal launch, you figure out what that excitement is. And I'm not talking about exploitative excitement persuasion bullshit. I'm talking about proper what gets people excited. And it turns out, in this case, what people are excited about is the ingredients in this thing, and the potential danger that comes with it, and all these things. That's what people really got excited about. Now, she could have guessed it, but they tested it in a small launch somewhere. There's a bit of a story down here. And then quickly, figured out how to really sell to the market. And that is the purpose of a small seed launch, that you figure out how to sell something so people get excited about it. And the end result then is, thousands of bottles sold out, etc. And that's basically, I've told Phil that I'm doing this case study here. Phil, please pay heed to this story. And, you have something amazing there. And if you keep telling yourself that web stuff is a headache, well, it is a headache. If you do all of it yourself and you want to build a complete site, it is a headache, no doubt about it. But this is the big thing, like starting with small traction and then slowly growing, and learning for a year or so. You can condense that entire learning experience into a single seed launch. And within a couple of weeks, you have all the data you need, right? It's all about getting real data of what works for you, because I can already tell you, I'm pretty confident that using the same marketing approach this lady used for her Rodial product is not going to work for Phil. It just isn't. This is not a product in the beauty world. It's somewhere else. And as a result, he needs to figure out what is going to work. And that's why I say, if you do launches strategically and in the right way, a seed launch without all those unnecessary persuasion elements, they are beautiful. And that's why I'm saying I've probably been doing you a disservice, myself a disservice, and Jeff Walker a disservice by saying product launch formula, don't do it, right? I'm saying if you have something of value and you want to get it out there and quickly figure out how to serve your market best and position and present your product in a way that people get excited about it, by all means, go and check out Product Launch Formula. I mean, they've got a payment plan. Just go for the payment plan. If you don't get traction very, very quickly, just ask for a refund and you're done. You know, it's a little bit of money down and you get your money back and all is good. But to do this year and spend the rest of your life to grow organically and fade organically, that's the big problem, right? Like the story of Christian's buddy there. He's not really growing. He's getting on organically. And I don't think he has faded organically yet, but he's just about getting on. And if you keep going at such a slow pace, you may never get the real numbers. You never get the real insights. You may never find out that this is the one thing people really want. That's the kind of stuff you get when you've got enough momentum, and that momentum you build within a quick launch. So I wrap it up with my own first launch, a quick summary of my own launch, which was a productivity product, bare knuckle productivity, a long time ago. And all I did actually do a launch, and before I launched, I did a seed launch-ish, reaching out to people on the Warrior Forum. Yes, that's how long it is ago. And I got a ton of tremendous feedback. So I built a small tribe of people who were interested, and then I very nearly fell into this category. Oh, I'm not good enough, and it's too hard, and I'm not sure if people are going to like it, etc. So much so that quite a few people then of my initial, and that was only a few dozen people on my initial launch list, basically lost interest because it took me a good 6 to 8 weeks to finally get the product out there. And it wasn't a persuasion thing. It was purely a, look, finally, here it is. And I can't remember the exact number, but it was a very nice payday, and I made a lot of people very happy with the course. So, you know, why not? Go and do a small launch. It'll, if anything, you know, even if you don't in the initial launch find out the ultimate perfect hook, like, you know, the poison thing here, it'll give you the self-confidence that, yes, your thing is good enough and people actually want help and they like your stuff. And they're pretty much guaranteed willing to help you create a better product for them because it helps them. So, you know, everyone is helping each other. Do some launches. Alrighty, cheers, bye.